Brother, the secret police around here.
What's the matter, Penny?
Oh, I'm late again. And I'm campus next Friday. That house mother would make a good cop. Oh, well, it'll serve him right anyway.
Serve who right?
Norm. It's his fault I'm late. He gets so carried away.
Maybe you should spend more time at football games and pep rallies and less time at Lover's Lookout.
Hey, I thought you had a date tonight.
I did. We came back early.
Oh, not again. This is the third date I've lined up for you, and each time they've dumped you off before curfew like you were coming down with the measles.
I like boys just as much as you do. I just didn't happen to like these. We haven't had anything in common, that's all.
So you come home and read. What is it, English Lit?
Sure. What's wrong with that? That's why I came here, to learn.
Well, there are some things you just never seem to learn, like it's no crime to kiss your date.
I have nothing against kissing, if I happen to like the boy, and that's how I want to say goodnight. But these friends of yours, Penny, they don't want to kiss you goodnight. They want to kiss you all night. They want to drive to the loneliest spot they can find and see how far they can go.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Jan. It's part of going to college. Like homecoming and midterms and chemistry. You've been here a couple of years. You've got to shake off some of those high school notions about petting.
You make it sound as harmless as an extracurricular activity. It's not something I want to fool around with.
The canary is Louise's pet. Louise calls her canary Tony.
Want to take a bath?
Louise has learned the many things she must do every day to keep Tony clean and healthy. A canary needs a bath only about once in 2 weeks. But let's see what else happens to Tony. Now here is his bathtub. Him inside the cage while he bathes. He's unfastening the... So that's the way. The paper on the floor of the cage is soiled and needs to be changed every day or two. Louise has clean paper cut exactly to size. The soiled paper goes into the garbage can. Here is fine gravel for Tony to eat. It helps his digestion. So do these bits of charcoal. Tony bathes by splashing water all over himself. Now we see why Louise covered the table with newspapers. She wants everything to be kept clean. While Tony hops up to dry himself, Louise will see that he has a new supply of food in his seed cup. He has eaten the top seeds, leaving only the hulls. If Tony were outside in the woods, he would have to hunt for seeds. See him use his beak to dry his feathers and make them fluffy.
I just hate to see a cute girl like you sit home. It's an awful waste of your good years.
Well, somewhere there's a boy who feels like I do about it. I'll wait for him.
You may wait a long time. This is the second half of the 20th century, you know.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the year has nothing to do with whether something's right or wrong.
Okay. If you don't mind having the reputation of a prude.
I'd rather have them call me a prude than...
Don't worry about my reputation. Norm loves me. He's the only one who knows what happens between us, and he's not going to tell.
Well, if it isn't the lookout lover. Where you been, Norm?
With Penny.
Did you make out?
Well, this guy's nosy tonight.
Sorry, fellas. He never quite made it.
Lover boy losing his touch, eh?
What's the matter, sweetie? You losing the old fight?
Forget it, you guys. I had no trouble. No trouble at all.
Do you mean Penny?
No problem making out with Penny. That little girl is ready.
Say, fellas, this will be better than the Late Late Show. Come on, Norm. Give us some of the details.
Well, I picked her up about 8 o'clock, the usual thing. And we went out
There without a single care, just dreaming lazy hours away. Little coat of blue, cheeks with dimples too, tousled hair and lips of rosy red. Live and learn, but still we always yearn to be a little drowsy head.
Where is the boy that looks after the sheep?
He's under the haystack there, still sweet.
Who are you? And you. And you. I'm Little Bo Peep. And we're her sheep.
Looking for a poem by Stephen Benet?
Yes.
Just a minute. Hi, I'm Keith Miller. I'm in your lit class.
Oh, hi.
When I saw you in this section, I knew you must be looking for the poem, too. This is the only copy I could find. Here, why don't you take it?
Oh, no, that wouldn't be fair. You found it first.
Tell you what, you read it this afternoon, and then I'll pick it up from you this evening.
Well, it's very nice.
I've got a better idea. You read the book, and I'll pick you up this evening. We can go out for a while, and you can explain the story to me, and I won't even have to read it. Okay?
All right. I'm Jan Morgan.
I know. See you tonight.
I love to come here. To the full of faraway places, I guess.
I've never been on a plane, but I used to climb trees.
Next best thing. What did you climb? Apple trees? Willows?
No, sir. None of those sissy trees for me. I was the best tree climber in all of Chicago. We lived in the suburbs. We had a big maple in our backyard.
Did you grow up in Chicago?
In Wilmette, just outside the city.
No kidding. I've spent several summers in Wilmette. Did you ever go to the lake?
That's where I learned to swim.
Do you fish?
Love it.
Bait your own hook.
Sure.
How about that? I thought you were just another helpless female.
You're supposed to think that.
Am I?
Penny says men want their women helpless and fluttering.
Penny?
Penny Webb, my roommate. You know her?
I've heard of her.
Oh, don't tell her you found out about me.
Found out?
Tony seems to be hungry after his bath, and he will be thirsty after he eats. Louise keeps this cup filled with fresh, cool water. And now, Tony has had a bath and has plenty of food and fresh water. Louise is ready to take him back to the living room, where he spends most of his time on his perch by the sunny window, singing and singing.
Come on, this is the fun part. Now we join the crowd and pretend we just came in from Mexico City.
Oh, it's simply too dull being home again. Where shall we go next?
How about Wilmette?
Okay.
How's the outside world? Where have you been?
Mexico.
Hey, it's midnight. I've been expecting you since 9:30. You must have been a success.
He's a doll. He's an absolute doll. Do you know what he told me? He said he'd never had so much fun on a first date.
Ladies cheerleaders, we got the power!
Messing around for a season.
We're ready to throw a pass, and we end up with a guy who can't even catch the ball.
He's mine! Mine! She has the power.
You've just got to come see us in our new movie, Satan's Cheerleaders.
We've got the power.
That's nice. The second date can be even more fun.
Is tomorrow the last day of the world? This is tomorrow's Bionic Man. Inframan. A motion picture that will stagger your imagination. Inframan, the ultimate in science fiction. Created by science, powered by nuclear energy. Inframan, you won't believe your eyes. You won't believe your mind. The man beyond bionics in a motion picture beyond your wildest imagination. Inframan.
I think I'm in love with you. Jan, would you take my fraternity pin?
Oh, Keith. Yes.
I'll be darned, I didn't wear it.
When I pinned Laura last year, I didn't go through all that. I just hung on her.
That's why you're not pinned this year. No girl wants to wear a second-hand pin.
That's not the reason. I took it back. Laura wouldn't.
Wouldn't what?
She just wouldn't, you know. I thought she was holding out for my pin, but even afterward, she still wouldn't. Listen, man. A girl who won't after she's pinned, she's holding out for marriage. I'd hope you're making out already.
Helen is home again from school.
Hello, Tippy.
It's time for Tippy to have fresh water. All pets, especially cats, need to have fresh water to drink at all times. This is Tippy's bed, a clean blanket spread over shredded paper in the basket. A clean, soft bed, pushed back in a corner where the cool night breeze won't chill him. Any cat could go to sleep in a bed like Tippy's.
Come to think of it, I bet you never even tried.
Well, maybe I respect Jan. Myself, too.
Respect's got nothing to do with it. If you're in love, it's the most natural thing in the world. But Laura, well, she wasn't really in love with me, or she'd have had no objections.
Maybe if you were really in love with her, you'd have been willing to understand her objections.
Man, it's the physical act that makes love meaningful. Makes a girl yours and no one else's. Without it, there's no deep relationship between a man and a woman, between me and Laura or you and Jan. You're just having a nice little romance. But love? That's gotta include sex.
What a grand play toy for a cat.
Look, Stan, I've got just as strong a drive as you have. But I also want a wife who's more than just a playmate. Someone who's a challenge. And as far as having sex before marriage, I like to think the old standards still have some value.
You know what I say?
Tippy is neat and careful as he eats. Helen thinks Tippy is the best pet she ever had. She's careful about his food. Away goes the cereal, which he didn't eat earlier. Now, Helen will brush Tippy's fur. He's already washing his face after his meal, even behind the ears. Cats try hard to keep themselves clean. But Helen can help. If Tippy licks his own fur, he may swallow loose hairs. Then they may collect into a ball in his stomach and make him sick. So, first the comb and later the brush, to get out the loose hairs and to make Tippy's fur coat clean and shiny.
Look, Keith, old buddy, I had a girl like Jan. I loved her. She loved me. I wouldn't hesitate 1 minute to seal that love.
There's something else Helen must do for Tippy before school time.
Tippy, here's your scratching rod, Tippy.
Now Tippy won't scratch the furniture. Mother wouldn't like that.
Jan's just not that kind of a girl.
How do you know? The kind of girl who will is hard to tell from the kind who won't. Look at the girls in your classes. They're not tough, painted babes. They're girls like Penny Webb. Most of them come to school with inhibitions, but they catch on.
Cats need to scratch to exercise their muscles and to keep their claws in good condition.
And if I didn't, or she wouldn't, I wouldn't count it worth my time. Life's too short, man. You think it over.
As the interviews continue, memories of earlier life reveal the same inability to assert herself. It gradually becomes clear that this developed from the fear of losing love and of not being wanted. A school friendship.
She was wonderful, so popular and pretty. We used to go everywhere together. Everyone liked her. But I was her best friend.
The friendship gave the patient a feeling of being wanted and useful. She enjoys her friend's successes without exposing herself to dangers of competition. She dreads competition. But, living through the friend, she cannot satisfy her own need for expression.
He's still polishing Keith's pin. To begin with, it was the shiniest pin I ever saw.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?
You still have ambulance defeating time. If all there's anything whatsoever takes place over in the big circus tent. When you buy a ticket from this gentleman here to my right, or the gentleman upon my left, you will positively find plenty of the most remarkable living freaks and curiosities.
You ask too many questions, hon. Look, sweetie, it's very convenient to use Aunt Lucy to get a weekend off campus. She doesn't have a phone, so they can't check up on you. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I stayed with her. Well, who'd want to spend a weekend with a deaf old lady?
Then, every time you've gone out there?
Oh, I have spent a couple of nights with her.
Sally knows there are times when it's all right to get out of her seat.
Penny.
Don't look at me that way, Jan. I know how you feel. I went through the same thing myself. I just couldn't understand how a clean, decent girl could get so carried away.
You may have to move away, I'm afraid.
Oh, Joe, gosh, I'm sorry.
So am I. But please don't tell anyone, because it's not definite yet.
I'm still decent. Why, I wouldn't think of entering into a relationship of this kind with anyone but Norm.
That's one way to react when a friend entrusts you with a secret. Is this what you would recommend under similar circumstances?
I don't understand. If you really love Keith, why you're not willing to love him all the way, completely.
Promise you won't tell it so, but I just heard the most terrible thing. Joe's father lost his job, and they have to get out of the house right away and move to another town.
Yes, but you have to lie and sneak and cheat to be with him now.
Only because our rules haven't caught up with the times.
There was a boy who took me out once in a while. He was very nice. I guess Jean got quite a crush on him because she flirted with him a lot.
Well, I may be old-fashioned, but I've always been taught that sex relations should be saved for marriage.
But why? I remember one time when I was going along the street, they were standing talking to some other people, and they didn't even say hello. I felt terribly hurt.
Did you say hello?
No, I didn't want to butt in when they didn't say hello. I felt awful.
Not just as a sex object.
Well, what makes you think Norm doesn't love me over and above sex?
I guess he got to like her, too.
I want to be sure that Keith and I are suited for each other in more ways than one.
Afraid to join them, she is not noticed. She feels, wrongly, that she is not wanted.
Sex will take over.
Jan, you don't really know what it is to be a woman until you're willing to sacrifice everything, including convention, for the man you love.
And you don't worry that what you're doing is wrong?
In whose eyes?
The next scene deals with another vital test of friendship.
The necking, then petting, then going halfway. Someday I'll be Norm's wife. Meanwhile, I'm proud that I'm not afraid to show my love completely. Don't you envy me, Jan? Don't you envy me just a little bit?
If I ever did give in to Keith, I don't think he'd ever respect me again. Not to mention my own self-respect.
Self-respect isn't important when you're in love.
Dependability. How would you react to these two episodes?
Are you implying that Norm doesn't respect me?
I didn't say that. But I've seen it happen before.
You've just seen one possible way of behaving toward a friend.
I know he respects me.
George, I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. You know the day we have tomorrow night?
What about it?
I can't go. My folks want me to go somewhere with them, and I simply can't get out of it.
I'm sorry,
So am I, but it just simply can't be helped.
I suppose you want me to say I'm sorry.
Sooner or later, it was bound to happen.
Bill, it's okay. I got rid of him.
Oh, that's swell. How'd you do it?
Oh, it was easy. I just made up a story about having to go somewhere, and he fell for it.
Oh, great.
Now you and I can go out tomorrow and have some real fun.
I just got carried away. I respect your right to turn me down.
Say, Effa, remember that date we have for Friday night?
Of course I do, Frank.
Well, come on over. I want to talk to you about it. You see, my parents and I and our whole family got an invitation to go on a trip this weekend. So would you mind too much if I broke our date and went along with them?
Why not at all, Frank?
Thanks. I knew you'd be a pal about it. And we'll have our date a week from Friday, okay?
Do you think it's been easy for me?
Would it be so terrible? I love you, Jan.
Absolutely okay. And thanks for telling me about it.
Oh, Keith, I'm so mixed up.
Yeah, me too, I guess. I thought I had such definite ideas of right and wrong. Now I'm not so sure anymore.
If you have any problems like those you've just seen, talk them over. Get them settled. Because the only way to have a friend is to be one. And friendship is one of the most precious things in life.
We're young for such a few years, we can't afford to lose a single one.
I worry that it could happen suddenly. In a car or somewhere. Some way that would make it ugly for us. I couldn't stand to have it happen like that. That's why waiting is so important to me.
But how can we stand to wait 2 or 3 years?
Remember what those problems of friendship are? They involve loyalty, good manners, and dependability.
It could be just like our honeymoon. We could pretend we're married.
You mean us? Go there?
You could tell them you were spending the weekend with your aunt.
Do you like your friends to do what Mary is doing in this scene?
I better go in now.
Okay, so you won't even talk about it.
Keith,
Maybe we hadn't better see each other so much.
Maybe we hadn't better see each other at all.
Was Frank a good friend when he postponed his date with Ethel?
Don't ask me for advice, Ben. I give it to you, and you put on a face like you'd just seen a spider in your dresser drawer.
You mean you think I should go with him?
Only if you want to keep his love.
Oh, I do. I do, but not that way.
How can you say you love him if you're not willing to back your word?
How would you rate Ethel in this test of friendship? Plus or minus?
What happens to all my ideals?
Take your choice, Jan. Keith or all those ideals. It was a choice I had to make, too. I know how hard it is to leave them behind. But it's all part of growing up.
In this picture, we've looked at a few problems of the kind you and your friends run into every day.
Hey, what are you doing up there?
I might ask, what are you doing down there?
Just a minute, I'll be right up.
Did Betty show a friendly, cooperative spirit?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, me too.
How did you happen to come here?
I don't know. Nostalgic memories, I guess.
Was Bill a real friend at the table with...
Yes.
I missed you.
I miss you too, Keith. Oh, Keith. These weeks have been a nightmare.
How did you feel when Betty broke her date with George?
Well, I've never pushed it.
Honey, I'm getting out of this school.
What are you talking about?
On the midnight bus. I'm going home.
If you do, you may ride on a little bus. Or you may ride on a big bus.
You know what's happened? I had a date with Norm tonight. He said he had something special to talk to me about.
Mr. Walker, like your bus driver, has been driving for a long time.
Of course, I was furious. I thought he'd been two-timing me. That she was pregnant or something. It's worse than that.
Can you imagine who some of these people are? That's right, your teacher.
Jan, I was just like you once.
Because she cares about you. But did you know that Mr. Walker has a teacher also? Mr. Walker's teacher is another helper. He helps him learn more.
Oh, and Jan, please don't tell them everything.
Always this inability to stand up for herself in situations calling only for normal competition.
What a wonderful party this is, Keith. I'm so glad you asked me.
Oh, I did invite several other girls, but they were all busy, so... I'm glad you're still wearing my pin, Jan. I thought maybe after our last date that...
He is especially proud of the button he wears on his jacket. It means he has driven a school bus for 10 years without an accident. Mr. Walker knows that a lot of people helped him earn his pin.
Jan, is it too early to begin making any plans?
I've been making plans for a long time.
I remember once when I was about 12, we were having a school play. I wanted to be the princess. I practiced alone in my room until I knew it perfectly.
Hi, I'm a recently retired Miss America, as well as a single working girl. I was exposed to many products during that dazzling year. Many were frivolous, one was permanent, something I'll cherish for a lifetime. It will never wear out and saves me time and effort every day. It's the finest cookware made anywhere in the world, VitaCraft. The VitaCraft method is a waterless, greaseless, low-temperature way of cooking food in its own natural juices. I'm healthier because of it. Whether a girl is single or married, she can prepare food a more convenient, nutritious way. But I want to tell you of the VitaCraft student and part-time program. Why waste your personality on menial tasks? Investigate the VitaCraft marketing program as you would any other extra income opportunity. They will train you, give you confidence, satisfaction, practical experience, and money. You have everything to gain. And a really nice firm to help you. Have a nice evening.
All right, Margaret, it's your turn.
A fairy went out marketing. She bought a colored bird.
You had the most hurt, disillusioned expression I'd ever seen on a person. I knew then that you were the only one for me, that I had to shape up.
Then she opened up the door and let it fly away.
I didn't see you for weeks, and all the time I was dying inside. Why didn't you at least call me?
I wanted to. You'll never know how I wanted to. But I was nursing my pride, I guess.
All right, Jean.
A fairy went a marketing. She bought a colored bird. It sang the sweetest, shrillest song that ever she had heard.
And a little shame.
You don't know it, but I was wondering if I hadn't made a mistake. You know, with so many kids thinking that way.
All right, dear. I guess you don't do it very well.
Afraid to compete for fear that she might lose friendship.
You didn't make any mistake. I was the one that was wrong. You know, Jen, I really didn't want you to do what I suggested.
All right. Now we want to choose a princess. Who wants to be first?
It was a lot of things. Pressure from the guys. I wanted to make sure that I had you. Plus the fact that I'm physically attracted to you. Maybe the world is changing, Jen, and we're just not keeping up with it. And if that's true, what a horrible waste of time.
I love you.
Please forgive me, Jan. I love you too. More than I can ever tell you tonight. Please let me tell you the rest of my life.